Earlier today, we talked about the hypocrisy when it comes to the magic R word. And you know the hypocrisy I'm talking about, where it's only discrimination if a black person's being discriminated against by a white dude. This afternoon, we have another example of woke hypocrisy. It is only Monday, but I'm already sensing what the theme is going to be this week here on the channel. As you guys know, let me rephrase that. Very few people know that the WNBA season started last Friday. Ratings haven't been released just yet for opening weekend of the WNBA regular season, but believe me, when the ratings come out, we will be discussing it on the channel. The WNBA, they might surprise me. They might pop a massive rating, which for them would be drawing an audience the size of Imani Jones. But we'll see. We'll see. The ratings, it should be released later today, tomorrow morning. The big news coming out of opening weekend of the WNBA has nothing to do with basketball. Now, this should come as a surprise to no one since this dump never makes headlines for anything basketball related. Ladies and gentlemen, the WNBA proudly presents to you their favorite victim, their favorite social justice warrior, the woman with a face that makes people grab their mace, the only woman with the ability to make Leah Thomas go flaccid, Liz Cambage. I think I'm going to make a new category for graduates of Woke U. We've got the huge embarrassing failure category. We have the parrots. We have the Luciferians. I need to make a category for shit fucks like Liz Cambage. People who never tell the truth. I don't know what we'll call it just yet. For right now, I'll just call it the fuck knuckle category because Liz Cambage is a fuck knuckle. She is one of the professional victims. America is so racist. If America's so racist, why don't you take your ass back to Australia? Oh, you can't. They don't fucking want you either. Liz Cambage is not welcome here in America. She damn sure ain't welcome in Australia. The same woman who likes to throw on the R word like Leah Thomas throws on a jockstrap is now being accused of racism herself. Again. Liz Cambage is a self-described role model. I describe myself as a role model for young women who have dreams of growing up to be a complete dumbass. Liz Cambage has been one of the leading voices in the WNBA in their fight against mythical racism. Turns out, Liz Cambage is one of the biggest violators of the woke commandments. You guys know about the woke commandments. Commandment number 1, thou shalt not be racist. Last summer, the Australian national team was preparing for the Olympics that no one watched. They were practicing or playing in a scrimmage game against Nigeria. Like most social justice warriors, Liz Cambage is easily triggered. Doesn't take much for her woke alarm to activate. That white man looked at me. Racism. The WNBA only pays me $170,000 per season. Equity. This bathroom says men only. Inclusion. HBCUs allow only black students. Diversity. During the scrimmage, Liz Cambage, she became upset with her Nigerian opponents. I'm not sure why. Perhaps one of them thought she was a man. You never know nowadays. I remember when I was in college, we used to joke about asking girls for their driver's license for ID to make sure they were old enough. Today, you gotta ask girls, do you have a dick? You just don't know. Jenna O'Hay, she was the captain of the Australian national team. I highly doubt her and Liz Cambage got along. You see, Jenna O'Hay is the wrong color. She was on some program called The Outsiders. Looks to me like a morning show in Australia. Listen to what Jenna O'Hay had to say about Liz Cambage. Roll the film.
And this all started in that training game or the pre-Olympics game when you played Nigeria. And it's never really emerged what happened, but I've had it confirmed from a few sources. Is it correct that they were playing Nigeria and Liz Cambage had her feathers ruffled and she turned to them and said, go back to your third world country? And of course, Ezi Magbor is originally Nigerian, a Nigerian who's now living in Australia and playing for your team. And as a result, there was a brawl that erupted. And since then, you haven't spoken to her.
That is all 100% correct.
Will she ever play for Australia again, do you think?
No.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Did I just hear them accuse Liz Cambage of starting a fight? In the middle of the Covey, she started a fight? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the same woman who was a proud Covey crusader? Isn't this the same woman who publicly supported Covey protocols in a nice round of Fauci fucking? So not only did she break Covey protocols by instigating a fight, Liz Cambage told these women from Nigeria to go back to their third world country. Can you imagine the outrage if a white person had said that? Liz Cambage would be leading the charge to have them crucified. Can you imagine her reaction if someone had told Liz Cambage to go back to her home country? She would put on an award-winning performance to win Victim of the Year at the Woke Awards. Guess how many mainstream media outlets are covering this story? This was broadcast on national TV in Australia this morning. The New York Post, they were the first to report it here in America. Their article went live around 1 this afternoon. So it's been about 4 hours. Guess how many mainstream media outlets have picked up this story in America? 0. None. No one. 4 days ago, the New York Times published a glowing piece on Liz Cambage, praising her for being a beacon for shitfucks globally. Somehow, they failed to mention this story. Former NBA player Andrew Bogut, he said that we were actually given the PG version on Outsiders this morning at what went down with Liz Cambage and her Nigerian opponents. We were given the PG version. Andrew Bogut said the actions of Liz Cambage and the words were much, much worse. It was so bad that one of the most dominant female basketball players in the world is not allowed back on the Australian national team. Her home country, they don't want her. They want nothing to do with Liz Cambage. My question is, where is the media? Where is woke Twitter? The mainstream media right now, they are destroying Joey Sulapek for his remarks about Draymond Green. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier today. They want to pick and choose what qualifies as racism. And it's not like this is a one-off type deal with Liz Cambage. This fuck knuckle is a repeat offender. She consistently breaks the first woke commandment, yet somehow she remains a deacon at Woke United Methodist. Last year, she complained that Team Australia had too many white players. When Andrew Bogut called her out on her bullshit, instead of standing on her claim, instead of defending her position, you know what Liz Cambage did? She claimed that Andrew Bogut was obsessed with her and that he wanted her sexually. Liz Cambage, have you seen yourself in a mirror? I know you might look attractive standing next to Rachel Levine, but I can assure you, Andrew Bogut is not sexually attracted to you. She also made an Instagram video insinuating that she was exempt from criticism from male coaches, especially if the coach is an evil white man. Not only was none of this covered by the mainstream media, when the New York Times actually did bring it up and talk about it, when they did show the video of Liz Cambage saying that, they edited the part out where she made the racial remarks. The media in this country is deplorable. They will never publish anything negative about the WNBA or its players because the WNBA represents the values the American media wants. Socialism or social justice, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They can't afford to give any negative press on this dump of a league. Hell, they can't get anyone to watch this shit with nothing but positive media. The media shoves this league down your throat. Watch an NBA playoff game on ESPN or ABC. You'll see 5, maybe 6 commercials and 3 hours hyping the WNBA. We invite you to watch some of the scariest women playing the worst basketball you'll ever see. You haven't really lived life until you see a bearded woman dunk a basketball. Media outlets all over the world are talking about this bullshit with Liz Cambage. The Guardian, the Daily Mail, those some of the wokest media sites in England, they covered the story. Numerous outlets in Australia have picked up the story. Here in the United States, The only media sites talking about this are the New York Post, which initially broke the story, and Outkick. That's it. Nothing from ESPN, the state sponsor of the fucking dump, the WNBA. Nothing from FS1. Nothing from the New York Times, LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle, Washington Post, USA Today. Where the fuck is Mike Freeman? Where the fuck is Mike Freeman at USA Today? Where is our favorite Star Trek virgin? Mike Freeman never passes up an opportunity to create mythical racism. Here we have something that could be perceived as actual racism. Mike Freeman is silent. I don't know. He must have gotten his lightsaber caught in his ass again. Don't you hate when that happens? What about Karan Phillips at Deadspin? Where is he? Karkar just loves talking about racism in the NFL. In his spare time, Karan Phillips, he is the conductor of the woke marching band. How come he's not beating his woke drum sounding off on Liz Cambage? I'll tell you why. This story doesn't fit the narrative. You're not allowed to say Liz Cambage is a racist. Racism only applies when the perpetrator is white and the victim is black. Liz Cambage, she enjoys freedom of speech. She's allowed to say whatever the fuck she wants, but you're not given that same freedom. If you're Joey Sulapek, you're not allowed to make a mistake. You're not allowed to make a comment about Draymond Green. How dare you say that about Draymond Green? Force this man into silence. But if you're a member of Woke United Methodist, if you paid your tuition at Woke U, which by the way, you know where your tuition money goes from Woke U? It buys the founders of Black Lives Matter $1 million mansions. If you're committed to the cause, you can say whatever you want and your friends in the mainstream media will cover for you. Just ask Liz Cambage. But let me know what you think. Liz Cambage, once again displaying her true racism in the mainstream media, ignoring it. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.